Hello, 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 hello. I am Pip Ahead. He is James Brooker.
I am.
We're old friends. We have just a few things in common, like about 20 years of sort of friendship, kind of.
Lots of embarrassing moments.
Embarrassing moments, basically, shared. We're both middle-aged. We're about 48. We're both 48, 49 this year. But we thought it might amuse you if we pondered and shared our musings of all the past. So, now, this episode of the podcast is about first experiences. We've all got embarrassing, excruciating, downright horrifying first experiences, especially those to do with love or Nookie Bear, or Nookie. But we just Nookie Bear, do you remember him?
I do. Boss-eyed bear.
Oh, boss-eyed bear. He was cute, though.
He was.
Do you remember the guy that used to hold Nookie Bear?
The bald guy with the
was
large...
He bald?
Yeah, he was bald, but he had a lot of hair around the baldness, didn't he?
That's it.
And a tash.
Sandy colours.
Yes, yes.
And a tash.
And a sports jacket. And a beige sports jacket with a tie.
And I don't remember his name, do you?
No.
But he was the man with his hand up, Nookie Bear. Anyway, we do tend to just sort of tuck away all those embarrassing experiences and forget about them. But we're here kind of to dig them up, air them out, kind of therapy. Let's get straight into it then. First kiss. JB, do you want to go first?
Myself.
On that one? With yourself? Your first kiss was with yourself?
Well, in the mirror.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's quite normal, probably.
I was a very late starter. Everybody else seemed to already be involved in kissing and stuff before I was. But it was around a friend's house, 3 pairs of us and everybody else was kissing, and I turned round and immediately kissed this woman, and all I can say...
Did you know her though? I mean,
I did.
Don't just immediately turn around and kiss a woman.
I was absolutely obsessed with her.
Was it a woman then?
It was a woman.
Really?
It wasn't a man.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, she was a girl.
She was a girl.
Right.
Yeah,
she wasn't a woman. You weren't just 15-year-old James.
No,
kissing.
16. Yeah, 16, and just sitting there nervous watching Police Academy as Police Academy had come out. Everybody else is kissing each other on the sofa, and it literally, I remember the time like it had slowed down, and I just went in for the kill.
Yeah.
And all I can explain the experience was like is if you were hanging upside down with a marble in your mouth, but with your marble slightly, your mouth slightly open, so you're still trying to keep the marble in your mouth with your tongue. So it was like that, and it was that speed. It was really quick, almost like I could hear grunt-like responses from the recipient of this.
She was a bit taken aback by it.
She was, and she did actually comment on the speed, which I was...
I see.
Yeah.
So you were sort of like a fish, really. You were kind of...
Yeah, and it was really embarrassing. I can still remember it like it was yesterday.
Not a good first kiss.
Definitely not a good first kiss. Whilst everybody else were being sort of Casanovas around me, like.
But that wouldn't have been their first kiss. They'd have had a few goes at it, and they'd have been like, "Oh, I've got this," you know.
Yeah, constantly,
so
always. Yeah.
You were in a room full of kissing people. It was like a sort of carry-on film, and you should have had that music on in the background. Everyone's hands were going.
Yeah, most definitely. But the feelings that were rushing through you at the time, obviously all the testosterone, which is what I know now, is that it was. I still thought it was an incredible moment.
Of course.
Even though I was fighting to retain the marble in my mouth.
Oh.
But
memorable though, memorable all the same.
And what about yourself?
Myself, well, it was just so bad. I mean, awful. I'd say it was worse than yours. It was worse because I was humiliated by it. At least she was like, no, she wasn't horrible.
What, the recipient?
No, I'm talking about your recipient. At least
okay.
she wasn't like chastising you for it. She was like, yeah, it's a bit fast, but generally you got an okay.
Yeah.
Me, I was outside the front of the school gates on the grass with, I'll call him Joe. He sticks his tongue in my mouth, starts kind of stabbing away, not rotating or whatever you were doing with the marble.
Right.
Anyway, what's embarrassing is I had my eyes open, completely the whole time, completely open. Someone sees me.
Like a death stare.
Well, they're just like a fish, just open eyes, like a shark. Someone shouts, "Ha ha! She's got her eyes open," and I just died inside.
Oh,
a little of me died inside because there's always a handy mean person hanging around, just ready to state the obvious when you're doing something that's like a big moment in your life, and there's someone there just to kind of ruin it.
And we don't know what to do. We're experimenting. Unfortunately, we both chose to do it sort of rather publicly. That was the issue. But then how can you practice for that unless you've got a long-term boyfriend stroke girlfriend that you then go through all these embarrassing moments with?
How do you get one of those at our age, though? I couldn't have. I didn't have one of those.
No.
It had to be him because he was the only one who had the guts to do stuff like. Yeah, you had to do it with someone who was, willing.
And was there a second kiss then, Liz?
Yes, with him. Yeah.
With eyes closed?
It got better. It does get better. Your next kiss was probably fine, right?
No. Oh. It was on the Woking Fair, on the eggs that rotated.
I remember them.
And we sort of always make the most of trying to rotate them as much as possible. Right. And I was in there with this girl. I'll call her Louise, because it's not Louise. Nice name. But we sort of went for the kiss at the end, and I threw up. But I always remember, I don't remember the throwing up. I don't remember the staining of the brand new jacket that I bought. I don't remember her expressions. What I remember is essence of hot dog.
Oh, God.
So that was another memorable moment.
Essence of hot dog.
Yeah.
Where did the essence of hot dog come
I just had a hot dog before I went on there.
Yeah.
So
that made you really
it could have been candy floss because you could have almost sort of intertwined it into an enjoyable experience, but no, it had to be hot dog.
Interestingly, right, I mean, you've gone round and round in these eggs, right? You've been going round going,
yeah,
laughing and going, and at the end you must have had such a good time and it was so funny that you decided to have a kiss. I mean, who does that?
I think the intention to go on there in the first place was for the kiss.
Right.
Right.
This isn't really sensible.
All of the rides were, apart from the bumper cars.
You can't get away with much on a bumper car.
But everything was centred around that, so it was.
What a mess! I bet she scarpered pretty quick then. I mean, if you've got sick all down your jacket.
Yeah. That was embarrassing.
Yeah.
I think that was more passionate though, as a kiss. I think I knew what I was doing a bit better, apart from the regurgitation side.
You put so much into it that you just threw up. I mean, the whole effort of giving everything to that kiss, and you just were sick after.
Onions, the lot.
Oh, jeez.
I remember the stained jacket, and it was really upset me.
Yeah, that's upsetting. So that stayed with you clearly.
And your second?
No, I mean, this leads on to first boyfriend really, because after that it was into sort of getting a boyfriend, and I remember the problem with that was just silent awkwardness. Always, never any conversation whatsoever. It's weird, of course, because now I talk all the time. I've got no problem talking, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But back then, I was very unsure of myself, very quiet. I was basically an amoeba. I hadn't really developed. I was an undeveloped, unevolved person. So I started going out with this guy. Call him Robert.
Okay.
He was my first boyfriend. I remember though, it was very, very frustrating because we'd be walking around school for hours, literally walking around school, holding hands, but just not saying a word.
That's still quite brave.
We were holding hands, so that was quite brave, but we weren't speaking. So it was literally like you were marching, like you were on parade with a soldier, but you're holding hands.
Yeah.
So you're not saying anything. You're looking straight ahead.
Yeah.
You're walking around, and then eventually, right, he shouts, "Ah! I can't stand it!" like that. And then he just kept walking because the silence was so bad, such total torture. And even after that huge sort of watershed moment, and you'd think, oh, the relief, let's start talking. We still had nothing to say, and all we could do was just snog, and that was all we did. We just snogged.
Was that nothing to say because of embarrassment of obsession, infatuation, or was that just because... You're being kind, because actually that's true. We were pretty infatuated, and it was all like love letters and all that kind of thing. But you'd think, wouldn't you? You'd think you'd have something to offer, something. I mean, you do, but it's I can relate to it.
Painful.
I can relate to it. So going back to Louise, as we called her, she lived about 4 miles away from me. So I would. Right. Take it upon myself, we were at school together, take it upon myself to ride to her house in the middle of the night, just so I could climb up the wall of the house, climb up onto a lean-to of the next door house, walk along their lean-to, tap on her window, and we would just literally snog
Through the window?
Through the window, yeah. Yeah, just very pretty patterns all over the window after. But the main part and the memorable part was she had an ex-boyfriend that didn't take too kindly to me going out with her. So what I would do before riding to her house was unscrew a table leg from the house and stick it down my back and ride the 4 miles
You're joking.
to Old Woking, just in case I happened upon this ex-boyfriend that wasn't taking too kindly to me going out with this.
Mean streets, man. This is
Streets. I'd never had any confrontation, but I did actually, because my father worked night shift, came home, made a tea, leant on the table went over and he chipped a tooth. And that was the start of our relationship that took a dive, my father and I at the time.
I can imagine that didn't go down well.
How do you explain it? Where's that effing table leg?
Right. Yeah. So did you have to sort of?
I said
you've got to defend yourself, right?
You got to defend yourself, and I said I'd unscrewed it and left it outside for some reason. Didn't say that I was riding to another town to defend myself against would-be attackers.
Do you know there's something very romantic in that, though? You know, boys have always got. It's much more romantic, I think, for men, boys, because they do crazy things, don't they, when they're in love, and girls kind of just sort of sit there, like kind of letting it just all kind of happens. We don't get to sort of get on a bike and ride into another town.
That rings true though, because I always remember, not only do I remember the kissing side, I also remember the ride there and the ride back, sort of making the most of the moment of what I was doing. Riding quite fast, I may add, just in case, you know.
What's his name was prowling.
Yeah, on a BMX that was...
or a grifter, if you couldn't get a BMX.
A grifter or a chopper.
Well, chopper was...
Always wanted a chopper.
That was out of my reach. I couldn't get a chopper.
Me too.
But I had a grifter. We had a grifter. And a rally. I had a pink rally before that.
But the grifters were still quite a good bike.
Not bad. Big fat tyres.
Yeah. The first of the mountain bikes.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Heavy though. Really heavy.
Yeah, a really weird plastic seat, if I remember right. And twisty gear changes on the handlebar that if it went into second, your foot would slip and you'd smash your knee. I remember that.
I remember that. I remember all the clicky things I put in the spokes on my wheels.
Oh. What, to make it sound like a motorbike?
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah, it did sound like a motorbike, as I remember. So we've gone off subject, but all those cringy things really are sort of embedded in my brain, because most of my life's been an embarrassment. There was another one that was really bad. I think it was, again, silence and awkwardness, when there was a guy that I knew liked me and he used to come and see me, but with a crowd of people. And this is when I was living at my mum and dad's still, obviously, because I was 15. And I remember him. His name was James, actually, but obviously a different James.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you're not changing the names now?
God!
It's fine. Carry on.
Yeah, I should have changed his name. Sorry.
Well, keep him as James now.
It could be James, couldn't it? I'm not using his surname or anything. I haven't exposed him. And he didn't expose himself either.
No, not at all.
Not at all, in any way, shape or form, because even though I could tell he liked me, I was painfully shy and so was he. And you do that thing when you know that he likes you or that you like each other, but he couldn't do anything about it, and we were just standing on the top of the stairs for ages and ages, and he's just standing there looking at me and then looking down, looking away, and no one says anything for ages, and then he just says bye and then walks off down the stairs and out the door.
Can relate to that. I can relate to that.
But
definitely.
Cringe.
And 15 is the youth of today. I mean, we both have children, but the youth of today are far more advanced. I mean,
they're so sophisticated.
I mean, obviously the internet has brought us on leaps and bounds, but going on to dating and things. I mean,
yeah, that was. I've had some bad dates. In fact, I don't think I've had a good date, I'll be honest with you.
From internet dating?
No, this was still going back to embarrassing cringe. When I was about 16, maybe younger, and a guy invited me on a date. And I can't even remember, because I've got such a bad memory, how it happened, why he asked me out. It's probably because we were going to... I was going to pubs back then, because we did. Because I looked older then than I do now. I was wearing loads of makeup and loads of, like, ridiculously grown-up clothes, actually. And this guy asked me out. And we went to a pub, and he was driving, so he was obviously older than me. Sounds like I didn't really check these things.
In a lorry.
In a lorry and a mattress
Is he
in
a
the
crane
back.
driver?
Oh no.
Mattress in the back.
No, nothing like that. He was very nice. He was a very nice boy. He was Italian actually. And we went to this pub, and I think it was the Thames Court actually in Woking. Thames Court, Chertsey. Is it Chertsey?
Chertsey.
It is Chertsey.
Or Shepperton.
No, yeah, Shepperton. That's it.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. And all the way through, from start to finish, again, not a word, no conversation, utterly pointless, sitting there, obviously liked each other, but just didn't know what to say. And then we're driving back, and we get there, and I'm not even asking him in for a cup of tea, nothing, not even coming for a drink. Thanks then, bye, and just got out. I mean, what is the point? The poor guy.
Was there a second date on that?
No, I'd never heard from him. And I don't.
I've never heard from him since.
Often thought, what happened to him? You know, and should I try and convince him that actually I'm not a mute? I can talk.
But that's just an example of painfully awkward, isn't it?
Yes.
We've all been there. It's how we overcome that. I was within a huge assortment of friends that had bags of energy and confidence. But I think that just comes with that age. I think as I said earlier on, I think I was just a late developer on that.
I think so too. Me too, definitely. If you could go back and change anything though, would you change it?
No. No, because I remember the feelings, I remember the journeys of each one.
And the marble.
Yeah, and the driving, I mean, for instance, the riding on the BMX, I know that the recipient of that wanted more, but I wasn't offering more. It was, to me, they're scaling up the wall, having a bit of a kiss, and then riding back.
You're like milk tray man.
And then every now and then at school, the next day, this person would then say, "Oh, try something different, or we'll do something different," or or you wait till tonight. And I'm like, oh, really nervous. And then what do? Scale the wall again, snog for 20 minutes, and then ride home.
She wanted you to come in.
Definitely.
Basically, are you ever going to come into my house and stop snogging me and come in and actually sort of do something else?
I was scared of her dad. I remember her dad was quite a burly lad, and I thought I would never be able to, as an escape plan, get out of that bedroom quickly if I needed to. But let's face it, if I'd have got in there, I wouldn't have known what to do anyway at that stage.
Tell you what, right? I hid someone in my wardrobe once. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but do you know what? He was there all night.
Really?
All night. Oh, yes.
What, to hide from your parents?
Yep.
You didn't pop him out for a quick session?
I didn't just put him in there. I'm not a freak. He was my...
Yeah. Was he conscious?
To be fair, we were together for most of the night, and then towards the early hours of the morning, I had to put him in the wardrobe.
Clothed?
Semi-clothed, and just so that come the morning, when my mum put her head round the door, I was alone. And then he came out, and he couldn't walk because his back was kind of bent.
Croc?
Yeah.
Really?
No, he was fine. He's very tall though, you see. It was difficult for him. We did that. He did that because he stayed, and I don't know how we got him out of the. I don't know how I got him out of the house.
That's so risky.
I know. I am a bit of a risk taker, actually.
But then there's the thought and the process of that is it all adds to it, doesn't it? It all adds to it.
But we were about 18 at this point. But my mum still was like, nothing goes on under my roof. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I think back, the cycle ride, armed with a table leg, was better than the actual act of...
Do you know what I think? There's a lot in that. Now,
break that down for me,
I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down real simple for you, actually, James.
Break it down.
I'm a bit of a sado because I'm quite into the zodiac. Now, I know when your birthday is. You're a Libran.
I am.
You're Libran, right. Now, that is a definite fact about your star sign, that you're much more into the thinking about it, and even writing like love letters is more exciting to you sometimes. The whole thing about the build-up and the romance and everything can be enough. Am I right? Or not enough, but
Are we into predicting to 1/12 of the population now?
Well, all right, yeah, there you go. It probably is a bit... I'm probably talking utter BS, and it's most people, right, would probably say, actually, that's more... But
fantasy. I mean, the fantasy side, 100%.
Yeah.
Well into a fantasy world. I mean, yeah, I struggle to keep a small toe in reality. So that is the issue. I constantly daydream.
Yeah, really?
All the time.
Well, that's good.
All the time.
I'm a bit like that. Who doesn't do that? I live in a bit of a dream world.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, but I'm not like you. I feel a lot better, actually. That was very cathartic. How about you?
Very. Yeah. I feel a sense of relief.
Drained. You look terrible.
Thank you.
Well, that was us confessing basically all of our embarrassing. I don't think all of them, but a hell of a lot of our embarrassing. Tip of the embarrassing iceberg. But join us for the next podcast. We'll do another stupid subject, probably a pointless one that you could live without, but I'm sure you wouldn't want to. So do join us again, I hope. Thank you.